Today you're going to see a video of trail terrain detail of our hike from Woody Gap to Lance Creek. And we're going to show you our cookset and stove that we use between us.
Everybody have a blessed day.
Good day. Nancy and I are here at Woody Gap. We're going to Neal's Gap. We're headed toward a feature called Preacher's Rock.
500 feet up, right off the bat in about 1 1/10 miles. So slow as we go. Looking forward to it. And there's our sign letting us know we are entering the Blood Mountain Wilderness, part of the Chattahoochee National Forest. For going up 500 feet within a mile, it's starting off pretty smooth here, which is going to mean that it's going to get real steep before we get to the top. And somebody's leaving a little note here. We're at Woody Gap, Neal's Gap, 11.3 miles, Jared Gap, 5.9 miles, and Blood Mountain, 9 miles. Attention AT hikers, all springs until Neal's Gap are dry, and then it says wrong. Lance Creek, 4 miles north is great. That was on October 25th. And that's what I've heard also even a few days ago. Lance Creek is where we're headed today. Off and running. Nice little trail to start with. Nice to have this little flat area for a few moments before we start this truly steep uphill. I'm sure that's probably a big help to G. That medication, heart medication, as I've said before, starting off with something really strenuous is real tough. In fact, it can ruin his whole day if he overdoes it. Just mess him up for the whole day. He just really has to start very, very slowly and let his system and everything kind of get going. Nice to have a relatively smooth trail here and flat for a few moments to start off, isn't it? Yeah. Are you happy to be here?
Yeah.
You want to turn around and go back?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Well, relatively speaking, the uphill for the first 7 to 8 tenths of a mile really hasn't been too tough. So we've got, 4 tenths of a mile left, maybe 3 to 4 to go up another. Well, we had gained 150, but we gave back about 40, so we really got about 350 to 400 feet up in about 3 tenths of a mile. So I would say that it is going to get very steep here shortly, and we have heard that the hike up to Preacher's Rock can be pretty tough. I guess we better begin. So as you can see, the trail's getting a little steeper now. Still not excessively bad. We've seen a whole lot worse, but definitely much tougher than it was at the beginning. That first 7 or 8 tenths was really pretty good even for us. It was not too uncomfortable. So it's gotten a little steeper now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well, we'll head on out. We are going up that way, and looks like a switchback will bring us back to our left. We like switchbacks. That means you don't have to go straight up. That switchback I was saying I liked. Can't say as I really enjoy this. The fact that it's going to be all rock steps. It's okay when they're smaller, but these big ones, once again, they're tough on everybody. They're especially tough on people whose legs are not quite as long. But we'll do it. This one is a particularly precarious little rock climb. How unlevel all the rocks are and the steps, and lots of leaves, slippery leaves on them, but you just really got to be careful. These are the kind of things that do make the Appalachian Trail somewhat dangerous. Now, if you can hear it, there is a family coming up. How old is she?
She's almost 3.5.
And y'all are okay with me putting this on a YouTube video? Sure. Okay, they said okay. 2.5, you said?
3.5.
3.5? I thought she looked awfully agile. So that's how easy it is when you're young. You just climb up the rocks. And then the one on your back?
Yeah, you just turned one last week.
Whoops. Did you like that?
Say hi.
Can you wave at the camera?
Say hi.
Can you wave and say hi?
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good day.
Bye-bye. And there they go up the hill. Start them out young. Looks like fun. So, would we call that little rock climb fun?
No.
No, that one wasn't fun at all. We're glad that one's over. And we got another little climbing setup here. A very steep sloping rock right there. And no real good footholds over here, so I just bent over and held on to that big rock there. Of course, she's stronger and got stronger legs and everything, but we'll see what he decides to do. For me, it was a bit of a climbing experience, and he's, I think, realizing it's going to be a climbing experience for him too. And he made it. These look a little more level and normal. More like steps, not quite as high. So I'm coming up the trail here, and I'm seeing this in front of me thinking, oh no, am I going to have to climb that steep thing? But fortunately, you get up here and you see that it's a switchback. Thank goodness. And just more steps. And the top should be pretty soon, the first tenth that we were talking about. Pretty steep climb, and we should be there shortly. Now that is a big boulder. And we are continuing from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, trying to get to our first little opening. So this is the first opening, kind of a semi-opening. Once again, we had a sloping rock. I had to climb up on my hands and knees to get up here, but it's worth it. Views are incredible. 1/10 of a mile now and another 100 feet up to Preacher's Rock. The 3.5-year-old who climbed up to Preacher's Rock is now coming back down. Now you can say cheese.
All the way.
And the family's headed back down, and we're still headed up. Bye-bye. Bit of a steep climb we got going on here. At least it wasn't like this for the whole mile and a tenth.
Yeah. Thank God.
Two tenths down, 2/10 to go of this. We have 1/10 to Preacher's Rock and then another 1/10. We're on Big Cedar Mountain, and Preacher's Rock is actually ledges of Big Cedar Mountain. So Preacher's Rock, then we have to do this one more time, another 100 feet and 1/10 of a mile like this. And then we'll be at the peak for the day. And after that, it's going to be all mostly downhill for the rest of the day. So not too much more of this. Made it to Preacher's Rock. Sun is pretty bright and there's a haze, and some of us are smelling smoke. We're wondering if part of that haze is smoke. I haven't heard of any fires out here, but I definitely smell smoke. That's one, I don't have much of a nose. Can't smell things very well, but I can smell smoke, and that is definitely what it is. And look, another family has ended up here on Preacher's Rock. Is it okay if this goes on YouTube?
It sure is.
So, who wants to speak? How old are you, son?
7,
And how old are you?
9.
9. Which one of you is going to be the spokesperson and tell us what y'all are doing today? Okay.
After this, we're going to go eat lunch and then go play golf.
Eat lunch and play golf. That sounds like a lot of fun.
We live in Gainesville, so we just
Oh, come up for the day. Okay. Have you done this before?
This is their first time.
Well, this is called Preacher's Rock. Are you going to preach for us? One of you kids?
all you, Sam. That's all you.
Sam, are you the preacher in the family?
Tell us how it is, buddy.
Say, live a straight life, don't do drugs, and do what your parents tell you, and God will bless you. How about that?
Right,
There you
absolutely.
Well, it's nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
So I came doing a little exploring here, off to the left of behind Preacher's Rock. And there's a perfect tent spot right there. Person could camp here, which we can. It's too early. We really need to go further than this, but camp with your tent there, watch the sunset through the trees here. Get up in the morning, go back on Preacher's Rock, get up real early and watch a sunrise. And guess what we have again today? It's another Appalachian Trail Day. We have just been so blessed with weather. It's about 72 or 3 degrees, 4 maybe up here. Just being out here while the leaves change, right in the middle of them. Every day there's a little more change. One of these nights we'll probably end up with a real windy night and it'll just blow them all off before they totally change. It's so late in the season. You don't have to be a thru hiker to enjoy the Appalachian Trail and what's around it. You can come out for a day or a week or a month or whatever you want. So lunch was good at Preacher's Rock. G started up this last 1/10 of a mile climb we have of 100 feet, another real steep one, before we get to start our downhill for the rest of the day. Level and downhill. Long sit for lunch, then uphill means take it easy till the body and the medication get oriented. Just a little bit ahead there, and I would say we're going to reach our high point of 3,694 feet for the day. And again, that may be at about 100 feet out there. One more little bitty climb up. And this should be the AT high point on Big Cedar Mountain. Got a great breeze right now, probably 75 degrees. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood as that Appalachian Trail Day continues with those clear blue skies. So we have started our downhill descent off of Big Cedar Mountain, and boy, if the trail stayed like this for the next 2 miles, that would be pretty easy. Something tells me it probably won't, but we got to go down 800 feet in that 2.1 miles till we get to Lance Creek, where we're going to camp and hopefully be able to get water. There it is, another ledge on Big Cedar Mountain. Doesn't seem to have a name, and I mean, I'm sure it does, but we don't know what it is. I figured it was too good to be true that since lunch we've gone a 6/10 of a mile of this just really easy downhill, pretty smooth trail. And then there's this U-turn right here. Oh, what, you can't see it? Yeah, that's because it's way down here. Then you turn, and then it's, I don't know, might be a little steeper after that. Hopefully not, because it's been really pleasant. Have you enjoyed this trail we've been on since lunch?
Yeah, after the climb, I should have.
Yeah, that's easy.
Very pleasant.
And we got a nice breeze again. Not quite as cool, but we have a few clouds in the sky now. Just little white clouds. Continues to be a beautiful day. Lots of fall colors out here. We just reached a dry creek bed here. This is actually considered one that's a little more reliable, but as you can see, it's dry today. Back in early October, they were getting from cups. They were able to get a little bit of water, but there's nothing here now. Lance Creek is just up the way a little bit. We've been having easy downhill. Then suddenly the trail decided to take us up again for a little bit, which is, I just got to the top of that. We're up to about 3,323 feet, going down to about 2,871. So we still have 450 feet down. I'm just laying back resting, and this is what I'm looking at. Beautiful, beautiful. And then it looks like we've got just some easy downhill again on the trail there.
I got stuck on that log back there.
Yeah, if they're not slanted up in the back, it's real easy to get stuck. So, are you having fun yet?
Oh, this is okay.
It's been a good day. Would you say it's been a good day?
Good day.
Good. I just met Yardsale,
Yes.
who you give me permission to put you on YouTube?
Of course.
He is completing his through hike. He started in West Virginia, right? You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it started June 12th in West Virginia, hiked south to Maine, summited Katahdin.
You mean north to Maine?
Oh yeah, north to Maine. Little punch drunk here.
That's okay.
Summited August 29th, got back to Harper's Ferry September 3rd, and have been hiking south since.
Wow. So you've had beautiful weather.
I've been very lucky. Hurricane Matthew hit me atop Big Hump, so that made for some nasty weather. But other than that, yeah, I've been really lucky. I'm new to backpacking, and so
Well, not anymore.
yeah, not anymore. I was new, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So.
Well, we're new to it right now, so.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah. So when are you planning on? Are you going to go all the way to Amicalola? Are you going to stop at Springer?
Yeah, my plan was, well, I'll make it to Springer
Tomorrow, maybe. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make it early enough so I can kind of enjoy the daylight, and maybe there'll be some other people there to kind of celebrate with. So yeah, I might do a bigger day today. I haven't done much night hiking just because I love to hike during the day and see all the scenery.
Yeah.
But you know, today it might be an exception, and I'll put in a big day. And
Great. Well, it's really a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it's been one of the hardest and most rewarding things I've done, and just the people I've met along the trail have surprisingly been one of the biggest inspirations and rewards for me.
Just great people.
Yep.
So I have to ask how you got yard sale.
So that is a slang term for a spectacular crash where everything goes flying off you and scattered across the ground like you set up a yard sale.
That happened to you early on?
Yeah, well, actually a week before I started my hike. I was mountain biking. I'm big in I'm big into cycling, and so that kind of is appropriate since I started off with my left leg was a bit banged up, and it forced me to go slow.
I have to show your calf. See, this is what a person's calf looks like after they've hiked 2,180 or 2,100 and about 60 miles at this point.
Yeah, 60 plus. So
yeah.
Yeah, my legs are probably a bit stronger, but yeah, my legs and ankles and feet, they're all ready for a break.
I bet. Well, if you were already a mountain biker, you were already in pretty good condition, I guess.
Yeah, that helped. So, but I when I've met people along the way, and they've said, I couldn't do that. I tell them it's the biggest thing is your determination.
Yeah, it's just a decision.
Yeah, willpower, and anybody can do it.
Cool. Well, that's great. Well, I'm going to film you as you walk away, if that's okay.
Okay, great.
Pleasure to meet you, Yard Sale.
It was a treat meeting you as
Okay.
well. So
Great.
Happy
God bless
trails.
you on your future plans.
Thank you.
And off he goes to finish his 2,189-mile through hike from West Virginia to Katahdin, Maine, and then from West Virginia, probably Harper's Ferry, back to Springer Mountain, Georgia. And we just come to the crossroads of the Dockery Lake Trail. It goes several miles down that way to the Dockery Lake campground. Several people we met today had hiked up those miles from Dockery Lake and then gone southbound on the AT up to Preacher's Rock and back, continuing with this nice downhill, not too steep slope. The Forest Service has posted a notice here reminding people that if you camp, this really only has to do with between March 1 and June 1, to use a bear canister as opposed to just hanging food from a tree. There's a map of the area that they're referring to from Jared Gap to Neal's Gap. That's the area that at certain times of the year, when the bears are really hungry, you have to use a bear canister. And we have reached the Lance Creek and the streamside restoration area. Help to restore the area. Keep out of the roped off area. Use the constructed camping pads. Use the water access trail. And camp at least 200 feet from any stream. And that's pretty much a given anytime you're camping. A couple of smoothed out logs to cross here. And the water is running a little bit. Enough to get to the next place where we have water waiting. This will help make sure we have enough for tonight in the morning and then for most of the day tomorrow. As you can see, even this one is down pretty low compared to what it looks like it probably is during the rainy season. Here are the 4 tent pads, and that one looks pretty good right there. It looks very level. In fact, it may be the most level of the 3. I'm going to try to get dinner started. I've got angel hair pasta. Harmony has dehydrated vegetables with some tomatoes and chicken bouillon mixed together, something we haven't tried yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I may have thrown some beans in there, I don't know, can't remember. So we got this Ziploc bag. Those are the chickenish bits on top, celery and some cabbage, potato bits in there, carrots, and I'm pretty sure I've got green beans in there, maybe some red beans, some angel hair pasta, which really just cold water soaking softens it up, and in a couple hours we'll be able to just heat this up for a minute or two and it'll be ready to eat. Plus I've got 4 bouillon cubes in there, so that ought to help the flavor a little bit. Doesn't look very appetizing right now, but that's the water's added. It's going to rehydrate for a while and we'll see how it turns out. How you doing, G? We have this nice little log to rest on.
Yeah, it looks like a good campsite. Got a water source close by. Lovely day. It was a great hike. It was all I wanted for today.
My gluteus muscles are giving up on me.
My legs are kind of like jello. I was staggering coming in here.
But we are getting stronger by the day, and tomorrow's going to be a real test because we pretty much have another day tomorrow without as much elevation, but normally after a day like today we would tend to take a rest day, and tomorrow we're going to be hiking, so it's going to be a real good test.
Yeah, good test. You're going to bed early tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the tent set up, and G's getting his boots off, and he's taken on the task of blowing up our Thermarest air mattresses every night, and it would take me probably 30 minutes or more to do it, and he does it in about 5. Our water source is out there. This is maybe the first time that we have hiked that we've actually gotten into camp by 4, where we've had time to just relax and take it easy. So we did much better today as far as getting up, getting out, and being able to push through. I mean, it was only 3.5 miles, but again, when you start out from recliner to the approach trail on the Appalachian Trail, we had done some walking in a hilly cemetery behind our home, but nothing, and with packs, but nothing like what the trails are like, and actually had never put a tent together before, so not really the ideal situation to start the AT, but I have mentioned before, it was kind of one of those things of if we didn't just go right now, then we probably wouldn't be able to do it, so we decided to just go and deal with what we would have to deal with each step of the way and not have any goals or pressures, just do what we could physically do and try to enjoy every day, and that's what we've been doing, and it is very difficult, especially for G, but it has been enjoyable, and the weather has been part of what's made it so enjoyable. It's just been absolutely perfect the entire time that we've been out here. We soaked that Harmony House concoction, I guess I'll call it, for about 2 hours. There's our little knockoff stove. We paid $8 for the stove, and then of course we have to buy canisters for the fuel. And there is our dinner. In our little pot, it does not have to boil, it's already cooked. When they were dehydrated, of course, they were cooked. So it's just a matter of getting them warm, but we'll probably cook it a little bit just to make sure they get totally rehydrated. This is a first for us. We're usually doing this in the dark. Now G's going to add a pound of salt and a pound of pepper and whatever else he can find before he ever taste tests food, which he did, but now comes the taste test.
Yummy.
Tastes pretty good, huh?
Yeah, very good. My compliments to the chef.
Well, that would be Harmony House. All we did was throw it all together. All right.
First of all, we'll look at the stove. This was a knockoff stove. We paid $13.50 for it on eBay. And the main reason I was attracted to it was, one, was the price, and two, it was a large burner, and we had these pots. Felt like we obviously have more stability using something that had, you know, a larger support area. It performed well.
Okay, why don't you put it on here? Is there enough in here to boil water?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll take the cookset out of here. This came from the REI. I'm not sure if it was in the garage when we got it, REI garage, or if it's just REI, but they don't, it's not available there anymore, and I'll get the name of it here in a minute, but it actually came with, and again, we're both using, you know, this is for both of us, so when we boil water, we boil enough for two of us, and this was nice because of the handles here that are on it, which are a little bit beat up at this point, but the whole, it had a third pot, but we didn't carry the third pot, but we did use this as a plate, and then this is a plate, basically, and learn the hard way on this. Make sure you do the lock on these things if you have one like that, because we hadn't eaten real food for like weeks, days, and happened to have some leftover biscuits and gravy and stopped at a park to eat them, and heated them up, and I picked this thing up and dumped them in the dirt, and I think we just basically ate it out of the dirt, didn't we? I mean, we were just, you know, it was like, we didn't care at that point, so we're traditional thru hikers, but I think we were sort of acting like traditional thru hikers on that day. But anyway, so this performed fine, but it's obviously heavier than what I want to use as my sole cookset in 2018. But I think the two pots and the lid were 1 pound 4 ounces, no, 1 pound 2 ounces, so 18 ounces for anodized, is that what this is?
Yeah, aluminum.
Anodized aluminum. So no sticking. It was great because stuff didn't stick to it. But, you know, the weight is the big concern. And then the weight on that was
8 ounces.
8 ounces. So, but the big burner for a big pot makes a huge difference when you're cooking. So what we're going to do now is see how long it takes to boil. All right, so we've got 32 ounces of water in here, which is what we would use for both of us to have a nice big cup of coffee, and then he would have a little bit left over, or he might put a little more than 32 ounces. But we've got 32 ounces of water, cold water in it right now, and that would give us both our big cup of coffee that we wanted every morning, so, and his oatmeal. So just for kicks, we're going to go ahead and see how long in this controlled environment, no wind in here, it takes to boil this. Hopefully we won't run out of fuel, because that's pretty low. Start. So G carried all the cook stuff. He carried the stove and the canister and the pots and the food, basically. And then I was carrying the tent. And especially since our tent was so heavy at that time, they really did sort of balance each other out. But I'll be looking at, I've got a couple of ideas in mind for the smaller pot for me and what stove I'm gonna have. For the most part, he's gonna find me in the evenings as far as I know, but just in case he doesn't find me or decides he doesn't want to hike that far and I'm just gonna be camping on trail, I'm gonna have my own cook set and stove. And I'll probably carry the small canisters, so with the small canister, the pot and the stove would go in, the canister and the stove would go into the pot. And everything would go into the nice little stuff sack, bag, whatever. It's still, in pretty good shape. And we were in the woods for 10 months, so. Almost 10 months, not counting sick weeks at home and when we were sick. And other family issues that we had to take care of, but it was a lot of time. Sorry. Shajila said I was hiding her face. I think I'm starting to hear something. Not much. No bubbles yet? Well, we are at 4 minutes now. I guess it's kind of like fishing, you throw out your bait and you sit there with your pole and you just watch the water ripples while you wait for something to happen. Unless you just sort of watch the flame while you wait for it to boil, unless you have something else to do. Well, we're up to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I do hear something now. It's starting to
Getting a few bubbles, but not.
starting to get a
rolling
few bubbles.
all yet.
And remember, it's 32 ounces, so more than, and a bigger pot, obviously, but the larger base boils faster than a taller, slender base. I remembered more like 7 or 7+ minutes. And we didn't have a windscreen. I couldn't find it to bring it out here. It's one I made out of one of those throwaway pans you can buy at the grocery store. And it worked really well.
Yeah, here we go.
And stop. So we got, probably started boiling in about 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So what you were saying about the bottom down there is you're not going to touch that for 10 minutes?
At least 5, yeah. It's,
Can you like point out the part you're...
this silver knuckle right here.
It's really, really hot.
Yeah.
But the top part of it isn't, it cools down pretty quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, just don't mess with it till it cools off.
Yeah. Point being, don't mess with it.
Till it cools off, okay. So, I guess that's about it. You got anything else to say about all that?
And just because you can't see it's hot, doesn't mean it's not hot.
It's hot.
Trust me.
He has the burned fingers to prove it. All right, so we've got the stove, water boiling, and G has this handy little tool he wants to show off. Kept it for use in our van that is like, what is it?
It's an infrared thermometer.
So what does that mean?
It means it reads how hot surfaces are based on their infrared heat signal, what they reflect off.
So he just wants you to know how hot this surface is right here. See there.
146 degrees.
So you definitely don't want to touch that. Okay, what if we turn it off and see how long it takes it to get down to a reasonable temperature? We're not going to time this on the stopwatch. All right, well, it's been about 6 minutes. What's the verdict on your temperature right now?
It's still 123 degrees.
Still too hot to touch.
I suspect so, yeah. Yep, definitely.
So we don't know if all of the little backpacking stoves do that. Maybe somebody can chime in on that. But this one definitely has that issue of letting it cool off for a good long time. Seems like a long time anyway. Would you say it seems like a long time?
Yeah, forever.
Seemed like forever, huh? All right, we're right at almost 10 minutes now.
All right, come down to 106.
106 degrees after 10 minutes. Well, we're at almost 12 minutes now.
Okay, we're at 99 and a half. 99.8.
So you would think you
You
could
would
hold
think you would.
99 degrees. It's not,
Yeah, you could do this. It would be a little bit uncomfortable.
but it's not going to burn you now.
No, it's not gonna burn you now.
So at least, 12, 13 minutes you need to wait after you finish. Turn it off before you start handling that little, what'd you call that thing again?
I call it a knuckle, but
The knuckle. Before you go handling that hot knuckle, give it 12, 13, 14 minutes.
you could call it a knurled knob.
Great. Everybody needs a knurled knob. All right, well there you have it, folks. No, we didn't carry that in our backpack, by the way. It was kept in a vehicle, and it was one of G's favorite toys.
Well, there's nothing like telling how the temperature of tree bark at 30 feet, okay?
I'm telling you, we always knew how warm or how cold are the trees, and the dirt, and the inside wall of the van.
Yeah, that too.
Didn't really have a lot to do with how cold the air was necessarily, but we knew how cold the metal was.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a blessed day and get out and hike.